Hey, what's going on? It's Paul Allen from the TCO studios, and welcome to Vikings Gameplan, the bye week edition. Very happy to be joined by Minnesota Vikings general manager Rick Spielman, again into the bye off 3 spine tinglers at Kansas City, at Dallas, then that unbelievable comeback against Denver in our most recent game. Welcome to the show, and it's probably nice to have the bye now and be able to decompress and come up for air.
Yeah, no, I think it's a perfect time of the season for us. I know we started back in late July with training camp, and to go through this preseason and go through the last 11 weeks, it's the perfect time for us, the coaches especially, to get their batteries recharged, and the players. We have a lot of guys that are banged up, bumps and bruises, and it's the first time they get a chance to catch their breath as well. So with the big important games that are coming up through this last 5-game stretch, we felt it was the perfect time for the bye.
And the Vikings come at the bye with an 8-3 record, again off that outstanding comeback against Denver. Now, Kirk Cousins, 18 touchdowns, 1 interception in his last 7 games, and quite honestly, the interception was not his fault. So with that said, from where he was last year with the 8-7-1 through, say, the Lambeau game this year to where he is now, what are some things that are really, really eye-opening to you?
I think the biggest thing was when Coach Zimmer wanted to make some changes to the offensive staff. And Coach Zimmer has a vision of what he wants this to look like. And I think by promoting Kevin Stefanski, the offensive coordinator, bringing in Gary Kubiak, bringing in Enrico Dennison, what we were going to do from a schematic standpoint, how does it fit with the personnel we have on this roster. And I think the thing that you're seeing right now, especially with Kirk, that this is what he does best. This is the offense that he functions in best. So Coach did an outstanding job of identifying what we want to do on offense, and then what our players' strengths are, and then implementing that into the system.
Now, first-round pick, center Garrett Bradbury from North Carolina State. Here we are, 11 games into it, which basically is a college football season. But now all of a sudden some of these players he's been going against this season, obviously tougher, bigger, and better than college football. So he probably needed the bye to recalibrate. But overall, what do you think of his debut?
He fit what we were looking for as far as once the new staff and Kevin took over as the offensive coordinator. It's extremely important that we, from the personnel side, are always communicating with the coaches. And our job is to identify the players that have not only the physical traits, but the character that we're looking for to fit this football team. And if you can match the skill set with what they want to accomplish from a schematic standpoint, these rookies are going to have success, and I give a lot of credit to that to Coach Zim and his coaching staff for being able to take these guys and developing them.
It's been a treat watching the offense develop this year the way it has, specifically with the screen game and Dalvin Cook and Alexander Madison. But early in the season, it was kind of crickets from a pass-catching standpoint with these tight ends, up until late. And now in the Denver game, Irv Smith Jr., the Alabama rookie, kind of got everything going with that early third quarter touchdown. Youngest player in the NFL. What is he overcoming, and where is he now?
I think his biggest adjustment was, what the speed of the game is. Now, I know when we evaluated him last year, we were looking for someone to pair up with Kyle Rudolph, 2 different skill sets totally. We were able to take Smith and move him out. He can create some mismatches in the slot or out wide. And then when you pair that up with a Kyle Rudolph, who, by the way, has done a tremendous job not only in the passing game but also as a run blocker this year, probably his most complete season since he's been in the NFL.
Yeah.
So that was, again, part of the plan on how we're going to move forward offensively. What is our vision and what we want it to look like? And the other thing I would say is most teams, when you go through that first 4 or 5 ball games, that first month of the season, you're trying to figure out what your identity is, because you're doing it during training camp. Those guys aren't really playing a lot during the preseason, and then that's when you start to see things start to come together and you start to see some separation in this league. But you want to play your best ball at the end, and I think we haven't got there yet, but we're headed in that direction.
And Kyle, for many reasons, has been one of the greatest Vikings in my 18 years of calling games. Super philanthropically sound, ultimate team guy, we know that. You know, but with Kyle, you draft a tight end in the second round. And then you go through the offseason, he reconstructs his body a little bit and reconfigures his game. I mean, he's kind of, not that it's a surprise, he's kind of become the ultimate team guy, hasn't he?
I think him and all those guys in that locker room, one of the things that we want to identify, not only what they can do to help us win games on a football field, but those are the type of guys we have in that locker room, the unselfish guys, knowing that we do bring in young guys, that they're going to help just as much as the coaches are as far as developing them, give them a lot of advice, a lot of the things that they went through early through their career.
Yeah.
And when you can establish a culture like that in your locker room where the older guys are taking those young guys under their wing, it ultimately helps you win games.
In 2017, you trade up to get Dalvin Cook, and via injury through his first 2 seasons, didn't play as much as Dalvin or anybody wanted. Now full throttle, specifically with the best screen game in the NFL, Dalvin Cook. Holy cow, what even has been eye-opening to you, because you obviously liked him or you wouldn't have drafted him?
I think you've seen a lot of that when he was in college. Not only what he can do in the run game, but also how effective he can be in the passing game, especially on the screens. But I think it goes hand in hand, not taken away because he's a very gifted athlete and to me one of the top running backs, if not the top running back in the league. But when you pair that with the type of offensive lineman and the type of offensive line we tried to build, where we're not going to be guys with 330, 340 pounds that are going to mash you at the point, all these guys have to have the ability to move in space. And part of the success of the screen game is not only the unique trait that Dalvin has with the ball in his hand in the open field and how elusive he is, but also, if you really look, watch those offensive linemen, watch how athletic they are getting downfield, watch how athletic they are cut blocking in space.
Yeah.
And that's been a key to our success as well.